But if you could be seated so we can get the March 11, 2026 regular meeting of this council will now come to order. I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll for attendance.
Councilperson Colley.
Here.
Councilperson Miles.
Here.
Councilperson Perry.
Present.
Councilperson Zajac.
Here.
Chairman Archie.
Present. All right, opening ceremonies, we will have the prayer and pledge by Councilmember Miles.
O God, the Father of us all, we humbly beseech thy and thy wisdom and knowledge to guide and direct the deliberations of this council along the path of truth, justice, and righteousness, so that what is decides for the welfare of our citizens may also redound to thy greater honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You all be seated. And no public hearings for this meeting. However, we do have 3 presentations. Great information to share with the community. If you could call our first presenter.
The first presentation is Willie Price. Will be given a presentation on the Niagara Track and Field Club, which was founded in 2017 and has remained active every year since, with the addition of many new programs and offerings that will keep our community active and healthy.
Good evening. Okay, I'm just looking. I don't know. Do I move it or they move it, or you're gonna? Well, you just move it as I talk, because I'm just that makes it simpler for me. Okay. No, he can just move it. Just move it as I go. It doesn't matter. Good evening. My name is Willie A. Price. I am the founder and head coach of the Niagara Track and Field Club. We are run through a Better You Lifestyle, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are requesting, do I need to tell you my we're requesting and everything? Or just go ahead? I'll just talk. Okay. So we're requesting funding for 3 of our programs that we present in the city of Niagara Falls. We do what is called the Family Fitness, which starts in May. The Summer Youth Track Program, which starts in May also, right in the middle of May. And then our National Night Out Youth Development Track Meet. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Willie A. Price. I'm the head coach and founder of the program. We started in 2017, and it came as a result of me being a volunteer coach at Niagara Falls High School for 4.5 years. And I noticed one day I was out working out on the track, and the maintenance lady came to me and said, "You're the only person who uses this track in the summer." And so I went and spoke to Mr. Laurie, and I said, "Hey, I would like to start a summer track program here in Niagara Falls." He said, "Summer track?" He had no clue. Like, I never heard of summer track. So he allowed us to use the track and field in 2017, and since that time, we have had over 30 kids qualify for Section 6 sectionals since that time. We've had kids qualify for the Junior Olympics. We've had several Junior Olympic champions, Empire State Games champions and qualifiers, international champions. We take the kids to a track meet in Toronto every year, and we've even had 1 Olympic qualifier. So we've been doing really well, and a couple of division NCAA national qualifiers and champions as well. When the pandemic started, everything was shut down, and as a result of that, when the pandemic was over, we were allowed to come back out into the track, and we started the Family Fitness there because we wanted to get not only kids out to exercise and get fit, but also get the families out as well. So we started the Family Fitness, and Mayor Restaino and everybody came out, the police came out, and we started doing exercise every Saturday in May. And it would go for an hour, hour and a half, where we would do yoga, we would do line dance, we would do kickball games. We would just every Saturday we would do some different events. And then we had what is called free play, where the kids could just come and just do different activities, jump ropes and hula hoops and all kind of different activities. And it grew so big that as we expanded our program into the track and field, because this allowed the kids to learn different activities, which allowed them to be able to go right into the track and field, because we did the run, jump, and throw. When we started our track program, we started out, it was supposed to have been for the middle school kids. Next thing you know, we started getting 3 and 4-year-olds. Then we started getting the high school kids. Then we started getting college kids. And so we even have some masters. So the program has just grown. And then by that same year, we were joined by Western New York Project Play, and we were joined by the city, and we were joined by the Niagara Falls Police Department and Niagara Falls Fire Department, because we started what is called the National Night Out Youth Development Track Meet. And that came about because I went to the National Night Out that we had here in Niagara Falls, and the night that I went, there were no kids. And I said, isn't this supposed to be so the kids can meet everybody and, you know, meet the police and fire and so forth? And so I contacted National Night Out, and I said, I would like to start a National Night Out Youth Development Track Meet. And they were like, we've never had anything like that done. So right now, since 2022, we are the only organization that presents the National Night Out Youth Development Track Meet in the country. And kids, this year we had almost 75 kids, police officers, and their families came out, and we do a relay, and I'm gonna close out with this. We do a relay, and it's a sprint medley relay. It's 100, 100, 200, and 400. And our Niagara Falls Police Department, they come out and they run that second leg of that 100 in that relay. And when I say it's the highlight of every season, they came out in 2022. I didn't tell them they were gonna do it, and then I announced it at the meet, and when they did it, they said, if you do this every year, we're coming. And they've been coming every year. And the officers come out to compete, and then they also have other officers come out just to cheer and meet the kids and exercise. Mr. Laurie's out there exercising with the kids. And I mean, it's just been growing. And so we've been getting sponsors and different people coming out. But like I said, we're up to almost 70 kids this year, and families and officers. Even some of the parents ran the relay this year. And I'm just going to say, I actually am going to close out. But this past Saturday, I met with Mr. Contento for Niagara Falls City Schools, the athletic director. Last year, they discontinued the modified track program for the kids. They asked us would we implement that program. So we're going to be doing a Niagara Track and Field Elite program, which is going to be for 7-year-olds to 14-year-olds, and we're still going to do our free track program, but this program is going to be a program where we're going to prepare the kids to go to Junior Olympics, all those meets that I mentioned earlier, Empire State Games, that's going to be specifically for those kids to go to. So we're, like I said, we're growing, and we're just asking for any kind of support that we can get from you guys. Thank you.
Price. The second presentation this evening will be Kathy Stack. She'll be presenting on the statewide targeted reduction in inmate partner violence initiative, STRIVE, which has brought important state funding and programs to the city that emphasizes strong community involvement and increases safety for our families.
Okay, so I am Kathy Stack. I have 25 years in law enforcement. My last 11 years were as a domestic violence detective. My last chief at the time was John Faso, who's going to be presenting right after me. They always save the best for last. So, the statewide targeted reductions in intimate partner violence is a grant that was administered to New York State Division of Criminal Justice, so DCJS. It's designed to improve the public safety response to intimate partner abuse and domestic violence, and to better address the needs of our victims and survivors. Funding was given to 17 counties, including 3 in Western New York, which Niagara County was lucky enough to receive some of that funding. So this is slide 2. Yep. Intimate partner violence affects people across all different identities and backgrounds. It may escalate in frequency and severity over time. And as you can see, its impact extends way beyond family and the community as a whole. Next slide. Because of the funding, we were able this year to add an IPV, so intimate partner violence detective, a sheriff's office advocate, YWCA advocate, an analyst, a high-risk counselor that will be in family court. The district attorney's office received a paralegal and a coordinator to oversee the grant's implementation. Next slide. The Strive model is very similar to the Give model, where it focuses on certain elements. The elements here are people. Our people are identifying our high-risk cases. Our alignment is doing system mapping to connect survivors with necessary services. Our evidence-based strategies are many, and they're proven and validated models that work. Our engagement is an active role with community members and programs. This is a very, very driven, community-focused, and survivor-centered program. Skilled and appropriate staff with tons of training and monitoring evaluation is easily understood. Next one, please. So because we hired an analyst, you will see an example in a few minutes of some of the shared data between the community partners. Go ahead and do the next one. Law enforcement, when I talked about the lethality evidence-based, the first one is the lethality assessment. Law enforcement officers will be trained on a danger assessment. It's to be used at the scene on intimate partner cases. This model will help prevent, predict, and respond to the most dangerous cases of intimate partner violence and determine when the victim advocates will be contacted to safety plan and assist victims in real time. This will be done by phone contact at the scene. This is the highest risk cases will then be referred with survivor consent to a model called the DV high risk team. Next slide. So there's 4 components of the DV HRT model. As you can see, the first is early identification, and that's where the police are doing that assessment that I just talked about and identifying what the risks are. The responsibility to tell victims at that point, you are in danger and we want to help you. We're gonna work together as a community and as partners to try to get you whatever services we can to protect you. The next is the increased access to support services. Again, that's gonna be your advocates who are now, instead of waiting 72 hours to get a phone call to say, hey, we have someone that needs help, they're gonna get it immediately at the scene. The next would be increased offender monitoring, and that's gonna be probation in the district attorney's office. So we're all collaborating and working in concert to work as a team to make these decisions. And last is this coordinated response of the high-risk team. You can do the next one. So while the DVHRT that I just talked about focuses on addressing current and ongoing safety concerns that are immediate, the ODARA is another assessment that's done that's also evidence-based and proven to work. This will help guide what services and interventions should be offered for the offender. So this is used to assess the risk of the offender repeating their behavior. The next one. There's a lot, I'm sorry. So like GIVE, we also use the SARA model and police-oriented policing. They help evaluate the prevalence of intimate partners violence in our local area. And what we do is we will establish broad goals by using these models. The next model is the SIM model. It's the sequential intercept model. This one's my favorite because what we do here is we identify at each different area as the person goes through the process of arrest, prosecution, court, probation. You follow along with them and you identify how the survivor moves through the system, and you identify how the community-based resources can support that survivor. Often we'll have an arrest and then, the services fall off. So this is a continuum of assistance until they're no longer needed. This helps prevent homicides and other services for abusive partners. And next one. So the last 6 months we've coordinated with the community. Again, I told you this is a very community-based, and you can see all the names up there. We have numerous, and we're not done. We're gonna continue. Again, this is a county-wide grant, and it was started in Niagara Falls. However, it is moving this next grant into the city of Lockport and the city of North Tonawanda already. So we will aggressively be looking for their community response too, but trying to make sure that the DAIL, like the lethality questions that the officers are doing and the DVHRT team is, in place and working properly before we add anyone else to it. So we're being very careful with that. So the next one I'll show you is what I promised you what the analysts are doing. Very interesting stuff. So where are domestics happening? Where is our intimate partner cases happening? On this map in the red, you can see those are the domestic incidents in Niagara Falls. They're all over. And you can see in the black, those are identified as specifically intimate partner violence. The next slide is now the when. When is it happening? We are actually trending to find out what days of the week most of these are happening, the time frame for many different reasons. So you can see from 6 to 11 p.m. and from 12 to 6 a.m. is when we're having the majority of those calls. Interestingly enough, The ones that are not intimate partner, that are more siblings, are on average from 12 to 6, I can tell you. Those are more daytime incidents that are happening. So again, we're following these trends, and it's good for us to advise law enforcement and advocates what days these are occurring. The next is the who. So I took out the names for confidentiality reasons, but you can see the dates of birth. We're tracking and trending. What age groups are we having issues with? You know, and these obviously are fluid. This is just 1 month's example. And the types of crimes we're having. So where do we need education? What types of crimes are we having? Again, for many different reasons. The next one, again, is just, you know, we pick top cases in the month to talk about. And when you have a high-risk team, you're going to be talking about the victims and what services each different victim needs. And the next slide, we'll be again talking about offender accountability. We work very tightly with probation, and they have money for GPS monitoring, additional home visits to try to make sure that the offender is held accountable in these cases, and updating the victims on, you know, circumstances where their safety may have changed. We're getting to the end here. Here are the items we focused on. On year 1, we basically went over all of them. And on the next page, here's what I'm gonna say to you, is community outcomes. Increased safety and stability for family will come from this program. Improve access to crisis intervention resources and better long-term outcomes. So these are some of the initiatives for the next session or grant year 2. And the one that I'm most excited about is the listening sessions and the survivor engagement. And what that is we're gonna hold several of them, one with Housing Authority and a couple at Pinnacle, where we listen to the community and what is it that you need. So on that note, you'll see the QR code up there, and underneath it a link. We have pamphlets. Those are on the back of all the pamphlets. Those are community outreach. It's Forgive and Strive Together, and it's on both of our pamphlets. We really would like the community's input, so we know, again, from them what their needs are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sack, on the presentation for statewide targeted reduction intimate partner violence initiative, STRIVE. Our next presentation, the third one for tonight, is going to be former Police Superintendent John Fosso will be presenting on the achievements of the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative, GIVE, in the city of Niagara Falls, as measured by crime reduction stats, evidence-based strategies, and strong community partnerships, such as SNUG Street Outreach Program. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for having us tonight. My goal is to give everybody, we're in Give 12 right now, which means we've been doing this for 12 years. The Give years, the funding comes July to July of each year. We're going into Give 13, and judging from the feedback I'm getting, a lot of people still don't have a good grasp on what the Give initiative is. So my goal is, with all of your help, to get it out to the rest of the city. So, next slide, please. As we said, GIVE initiative is the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative. We're in GIVE 12. There are 28 departments across the state. This doesn't include New York City, and 21 counties that receive funding from the Department of Criminal Justice Services each year for the GIVE initiative. Next slide. Our partners here in Niagara County are the Niagara Falls Police Department, the Niagara County Sheriff's Office, Niagara County Probation, Niagara County District Attorney's Office. Recently, we just signed an MOU and included the New York State Police. We have the NICAC, the Niagara County Crime Analysis Center, which is the heart and soul of what we do and getting all our info and our data from, and New York State Parole. Next slide. The GIVE initiative provides targeted support to law enforcement and our criminal justice partners. Again, as I said, it's a state-funded initiative, and we focus on training and technical assistance. Next slide. Our core elements are people. We focus on people, places where these events occur, alignment with the community, and most importantly, in my view, is the engagement, community engagement. Next slide. We work on evidence-based strategies. We use problem-oriented policing strategies. We use hotspot policing, CEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design, street outreach, we partner with SNUG for that, and focused deterrence, and I'll go over and briefly on each of those. Next slide. We also, as the Strive grant uses. We use the SARA model, which is we analyze a problem, we create a response, we assess that response, and then we scan. Next slide. Hotspot policing. Hotspot policing is just what it sounds like. We, through the NICAC and through our crime analysts, by the way, we have, the GIVE initiative has two paid dedicated analysts that work for us to do this. They will identify hotspots for gun crime in the city of Niagara Falls. We do this on a monthly basis. We use the Cooper method, and what the Cooper method is, through research, we found that police officers, usually hopefully in uniform for the most part, respond to a hotspot area, spend about 10 or 15 minutes. Now, this isn't just enforcement. This isn't just about police officers going out there and enforcing. This is about engaging and interacting with the people in those hotspots. So we encourage them to go in and speak to community members, business owners, neighbors, anybody that's willing to talk, and just spend some time. And what the research has found is 15 minutes is the key. You spend 15 minutes, you leave, and it has a lasting effect in that area. Next slide. Each month we have a new hotspot map, and this is a heat map in the red segments are the micro hotspots in each of those segments. So we're able to target areas in the city that we want to go in and use our different elements of the GIVE initiative and work in those areas. Next spot, next. Crime prevention through environmental design, also known as CEPTED. This is basically, we have officers that are trained, and this is a DCJS initiative. They're trained to, now this could be for business owners, for private property owners, anybody that would like, can feel free to contact me, we can set it up. And what they do is they will go in and do an evaluation of that business, that property, park, whatever it is, look for things that can be improved in that area, that building, to help prevent crime. It's basically what it is. It's very simple. Next slide. Street outreach. That's, as I said, we work with the SNUG program, and we work with the SNUG program. I'm happy to say that we have an excellent program in this city, and more people should get involved with SNUG. Across the state, there have been various problems with different SNUG programs. Niagara Falls is just the opposite. We have a great relationship, and they're doing great work, and they help us out a lot with the street outreach. Also, next part, thanks for going for that's good. Community engagement. No, I'm sorry, go back to the community engagement. We want to have one more. Community engagement is just that. We want our police officers not participating in law enforcement, enforcing the laws, but engaging with the community. So we hold different events throughout the community throughout the year that are sponsored by the GIVE initiative. We just did Toy Express, which was a gift giveaway during Christmas. We do Game Changers, which we've aligned with the Drug Enforcement Administration, and we've had great success. We've been doing that for quite a few years. We've held fishing derbies at Hyde Park. Another one that I had a lot of fun with was Tuesdays in July, which we have a pop-up movie screen with a projector, and we had different areas of the city. We'll have movie night, bring popcorn, and get the kids just to have fun, watch a movie. The kids camp have been great also. We've started out just doing them in the summer when the kids were off, but then we saw there was a need when they're on breaks. So we started upping that and doing them when they're on breaks. So that's the most important element of the GIVE initiative is the community engagement. So next slide. GIVE shifts. Now, a lot of people, as I said, this isn't just enforcement, but there is an enforcement element to it. So with all those partners I mentioned at the beginning and a few more, every once in a while we'll mount up the troops and we'll go hit different areas in the city. When we do those, yes, we are enforcing. It is enforcement. But I've witnessed this for myself. It turns into a lot of times because you'll have officers from Niagara Falls, Niagara County, town of Niagara, state police, all here in the city. And people are just amazed. And we've had groups of kids coming up. I've seen officers having foot races down 19th Street with kids and everything else during this. But We put a helicopter up. We've had a fixed wing up, to assist us, and with the enforcement. But then the kids are in awe of that, so we'll have the helicopter swoop down and do stuff like that. So that the gift shifts kind of turned into an engagement also. So next slide. Another thing we do is we identify our top offenders, and this is top gun offenders. There's a criteria that the state put out that our crime analysts basically review, and each month we'll have a list of top offenders. And we target them. And there's no other way to put it, but we target them. The way we target them is we reach out to them, and we will do, can you go to the next slide? We do what we call focused deterrence. So this person has been labeled as a top offender. With the chief of police, Chief Ligamari, who puts together a letter that basically lets this person know, hey, you've been labeled as a top offender, a top gun offender. We know this. We're watching you. But if you want help, if you want to get out of this, if you want some direction, we're also here for you. And there's a list of resources for them if they choose to do so. When we started this out, it was a top 10 offender list. And for the longest time, we had a top 10 offender. And I'm kind of happy to say that well over a year, we haven't been able to find top 10 offenders. Last month, we had 2 on our list. So that's a success in itself. Next slide. The custom notifications are just what I spoke of. And when we do that, we do it as a group. We will have Niagara Falls Police, Niagara County Probation, New York State Parole, Niagara County Mental Health. We go as a team, and we go and seek these people out, our top offenders, and we try to reach them. Next slide. I just want to talk about some of our statistics over the past few years. Contrary to what some people might believe, our violent crime is way down. You could see there, that's the gun-involved violence from January 2024 to November 2025, and we're down in all categories. It's kind of hard to read, but I just wanted to put that up. Can you go to the next slide? This is City of Niagara Falls, January 24 to November 25. Shooting incidents involving injuries. Our 5-year average from 2020 to 2024 was 32. 24 to 25, we were down 17%, and overall, our 5-year average, we're down 69%. Shooting victims, which are persons actually hit, we're down 70%. Individuals killed by gun violence, we had 1 in 2024, and happily we had none in 2025. So, next slide. This is just what we call Part 1 crimes. This is the overall crime index for the City of Niagara Falls for that period, 2024 versus 2025, and you can see we're in the green with negatives, which is a good thing because we're down in all those categories. Next slide. So in summary, the GIVE initiative pairs our enhanced resources and evidence-based policing tactics through our Crime Analysis Center with data-driven enforcement and community engagement to reduce gun violence in New York. I think we've been very successful. I hope to continue to be very successful. And again, I'd like to get everybody involved, and if anybody has any questions, we're going to be around to ask questions, but the key is to get our community involved, so I hope to continue this. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, former Police Superintendent John Faso.
Stick around, everybody that spoke, just for any questions, that would be cool. All right, we're at section 4, review and adoption of our agenda. We've had our packets since Saturday morning. Are there any motions to amend our roll call vote? Excuse me. Oh, yeah. Oh, whoa. Rewind. B, public speakers on legislative items. How many?
The first public speaker this evening is Lisa Glavin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She'll be speaking on agenda item number 3.
You're good. Hello. I want to talk on agenda item 3, and I did look up the packet and see that it said it was a RFP that was only answered by one person. The question is, why in Niagara Falls, New York, United States of America, are we buying two 2026 Toyota 4Runners for the police department? Tariffs are real high on those now. Kinda could've probably got an American car. And who's gonna pay to get them fixed? Where are they getting them fixed at? Cause there's no Toyota in Niagara Falls either. So just doesn't make any sense why we're buying Toyota vehicles to run in the city of Niagara Falls. To me, it makes no sense. And it doesn't say what position those vehicles are gonna be used for. So I'd like to know what they're gonna be used for too and why it has to be a Toyota 4Runner. Just a question. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Our second speaker this evening, Willie Price, Niagara Track. Are you okay, Willie? Okay. Presented the presentation. We're going to move on to our last speaker on agenda items. It's going to be Janine Gallo. No agenda item was listed. Number 7. Thank you.
Janine Gallo, Niagara Falls, well, Niagara County. Agenda 7, again, with the houses that you're basically giving away, you're gonna now waive, once again, all the back cleanup fees to all the properties. I just don't understand. When I don't even have words anymore. When you sell the property, why would you just take that off like it's nothing? If you're selling a property that's probably worth $50,000, if you let everybody, residents of the Niagara Falls, even bid on them, you could get more money instead of backdoor deals. Here you can have these 10 houses and nobody came to see them or wanted them. Why would you waive that? Just make it part of selling the house for $1 or whatever the mayor decides to sell the house to his business partners to. If it's $2,000 and it's $2,000 of back cleanup, make it $4,000. It's still $46,000 less than probably what it was worth. So you continue 3 yeses, 2 nos, to continue to just let this money just, I mean, if I don't, why even clean up? You're not collecting any money to help. Maybe if you got the money, you could pay the people that cleaned up more money. Do you ever think of that? They probably make minimum wage cleaning up the properties. Maybe you could give them a 50-cent raise instead of giving the money to the people that have all the money. And then you're giving the properties to. Just like that lady, when you gave the grant, she had the grant. Yes. I'm focused. Okay. All I'm saying is, isn't there another solution to stop waiving all the fees that occur? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gallo. That is our last speaker on agenda item.
Okay. Yes, sir. So let me let you know, we can talk to you after. There is a sign-up period, sir, right before the meeting starts, and we can stick around and talk to you right after we're over. Thank you, Mr. Hart. Cool, no problem. Section C, administrative updates.
I just have a few quick items to cover. At the last meeting, on the 25th, there was the FOIL response that she received from our city assessor and our controller's office. The request was for a list of all properties that are being foreclosed upon by the city of Niagara Falls. And in both cases, those 2 departments I mentioned responded to the FOIL by saying, we have no responsive records, which is the correct answer when you have a department that has no records. And I want to clarify, because it's not just that particular speaker, but there are other instances of community members getting confused by what they're seeing on web pages. And it's happened more than once. It's probably happened more than a dozen times this year, where a citizen will say, I see that you have a tax foreclosure scheduled for this summer, 2026. I've received a call like that at my desk, and I have to explain, no, there is no tax foreclosure scheduled for this summer in 2026, and what you're likely looking at is a Niagara County webpage notice about the county's foreclosure program. So one thing to understand is that each municipality in the county of Niagara, whether it's cities or smaller units like towns, they can have their own foreclosures. And by the same token, the county can also foreclose on property. I may be up to date on my city tax payment and behind several years on my county tax. I will be getting a notice from the county saying, Mr. DuBois, your property is at risk of foreclosure. We suggest that you pay up quickly. Otherwise, in a few months, your property will be auctioned. You'll be on a list to have your property foreclosed against by the county, and a county-run auction will sell your property. So if you've received a notice that there's going to be a foreclosure on your property, I can assure you that it's not from the city of Niagara Falls. The last foreclosure, the last in-rem tax foreclosure that we conducted was in 2019. Foreclosures were put on pause during COVID, and we are in the process of getting ramped up so that we can send out notices to people who are 2 or more years behind on paying their city taxes. But I am assuring you, as the chief legal officer of the city had no foreclosure auction last year. As I said, the last foreclosure auction by the city was in 2019. And to be extra clear, I'll restate it. There is no plan to conduct a foreclosure auction for the city of Niagara Falls this summer. It's just, there's not enough time to get that done by this summer. I would say stay tuned, because in the next month or so, people who are behind more than 2 years on paying their city taxes are going to be getting notices from the city, alerting them and warning them, you're behind schedule, you're behind payment. If you keep this up, your property will be foreclosed on. Please get yourself current. After those letters go out, probably sometime this summer, as I said, recipients will have a chance to pay. If they pay up, they're free and clear. There will be no foreclosure against their property. We'll have to look at the list of those who responded to the letters by paying up and those who didn't. Only then will we know which set of business owners or residential property owners are going to be on a foreclosure action by the city. And just guesstimating, if everything went perfectly, I would imagine it might be optimistic to say that an actual foreclosure auction would occur anytime before September. It's more likely to occur, if at all this year, in the fall, sometime in the fall. Can't be more precise than that because we're still working on going through the list of people who owe and getting out the initial notices. So I hope that clarifies why some people are thinking that the city's had foreclosure auctions or has one planned for the summer. It's just not accurate, not true. The next item that I want to talk to you about is there was a discussion by some of the speakers last meeting about issues with the LED streetlights that the city now owns. And just to recap on what happened and where we're at. Before 2024, all the city streetlights were actually owned by Niagara Mohawk, and they're attached to their utility poles. And those utility poles carry electric lines at the very top. So those poles power our houses, and they also provide supports for street lights, street arms, and lights throughout the city. What happened in 2024 and 2025, the council voted in favor of changing that entire program so that we can get LED lighting into the city to replace the old lights. And part of that deal was we now rent space from National Grid on roughly 6,500 utility poles, because that's the approximate number of LED lights that the city now owns and operates. And so we own this. We own the arm, the support arm, and we own the light bulb, the LED light bulb, okay? So the arm that hangs over the street and the light bulb, the light fixture. But the pole still belongs to National Grid. Now, have there been problems with lights being reported out? I had some time this morning to research that question by referring to our 311 system. And in the 2 months of January and February, there were 6 complaints of LED lights being out. Now, when you consider 6 complaints and 6,500 poles and 6,500 lights, that is a percentage of 0.0923% of LED lights that had a problem. Another way to say that is, in those 2 months, 1 in every 1,083 lights in the city was reported to be out. So it's a very minuscule number of lights that go out. But I do want to make clear that if you notice that there's a light out in your neighborhood or in the park that you're visiting, that's a safety issue. It's a quality of life issue, but it's a safety issue. And what you can do is take a note of the number. There are these tin numbers on every National Grid pole. That's the pole number. Take a note of that number, write it down or put it in your phone, and also make a note of the nearest property address to that pole. It doesn't have to be scientific. Sometimes that pole will be between 2 houses, 138 Ontario, 140 Ontario. If that's the case, don't obsess. Just pick one of those 2 addresses. So you've got the pole number and an address. And then what do you do with that information? You call 311. 311 will put you in touch with an operator, and you can tell them what the issue is with the light based on the 2 months of history that I looked at for January and February. All those 6 complaints were about the LED lights being out. So if the light is out, you can tell the operator that and give them the pole number and the nearest street address, and it will be attended to. So that's it in a nutshell. The other thing I will just mention quickly is that I want to go back to what I told you earlier about National Grid owning those poles. And our equipment is attached to those poles. Basically, we're a tenant of National Grid. And National Grid being the owner, they're in the driver's seat. They can and did require the city to indemnify them, National Grid, and also have insurance covering National Grid as an additional insured. I go into that detail because I've heard it reported that there are some municipalities that have municipal workers doing the repair work on the municipality's lights. I don't know of any examples. I've watched the reporting. There was no mention of which municipalities are doing this. But what I can stress is that it's very likely if there is a town or city that's doing repairs on their own lights, it's because they own the poles. Because we do not own the poles, from a liability standpoint, it is an impossible situation for us to have city workers, even if we had city workers who are qualified to work on this equipment, it would be impossible to have them do that work without exposing the city to a massive amount of liability risk. We are much better off by doing what the council voted for at the last meeting, and that is, or the meeting before, and that is to hire and retain an outside contractor to do that repair work for us, because yes, the city must defend and indemnify National Grid if a worker has an accident on one of those poles. So what do you suppose we did in our contract with the repair service? If one of their employees has an accident, falls from the top of the pole, or at the base of the pole, an arm that's being installed drops and lands on someone's head and there's an injury, when the city gets sued and when National Grid gets sued, well, National Grid will point the finger at us and say, city, you have to defend us and indemnify us. And we get to say to the contractor, these are your people, you're the experts, you're responsible for providing safety equipment. We don't know how you're supposed to do your work, and so look at your contract, you're going to defend and indemnify us. And that's how the city is well protected by the decision that the council made in terms of hiring an outside contractor to do the work on the electric poles. And by the way, it's specialized work. All those people that do the work are linemen, which is not easy. Not every electrician can do lineman work. It's a longer educational process. There's an apprenticeship, and they're working in a very dangerous area close to electric power lines with high voltage. So there are many electricians, there are many licensed electricians who would not get up in a bucket and start messing around with wires at the top of a utility pole because they may be electricians and licensed by the city of Niagara Falls as such, but they're not linemen, and it's dangerous work. And that concludes my administrative report.
That was a lot. Okay, all right. Whew. All right. Section D, community happenings. What's going on? Nothing? Next Saturday is the 21st, yes? Next Saturday is the 21st, that's what I'm looking at. There is a Black Family Wellness event sponsored by the Links Incorporated at Doris Jones Family Resource Building. Free and open to the public. 10 to 2. That's all I have. Vince? Doris Jones Family Resource Building, 3001 9th Street. Yeah. Is the clinic this weekend or was it last weekend? You mentioned.
Clinic?
Yeah, I was talking to Posner Falls. This weekend, last weekend.
I don't think there's another one.
Okay. All right. Now we're at section 4, review and adoption of the agenda. Again, our packets were out Saturday morning. I like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda. No motion to amend. We have a motion to adopt the agenda as proposed.
Make the motion to adopt the agenda as proposed.
Second.
I'll second. Yes.
Yep. It's moved and seconded. Okay, council. Any requests for information? Opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Colley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac.
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 days.
Okay. So section, thank you. So section 5, review and approval of minutes. We don't have any minutes for this meeting. Informational items from the city clerk.
We submitted a report of licenses issued and collected, made in the clerk's office for February 2026.
Cool.
Received and filed.
Thank you. All right, we're at section 7, agenda items for council action. Do you have a motion for item 1?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion to approve a renewed trolley contract with the NFTA for 2025, it should be for 2025, and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the same as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Again, I will not receive the motion unless a member requests. Are there any information requests?
Yes, Mr. Boyd, we do have I know I sent you a request at the 13th hour for a contract, but we do have one for this available to read for this agenda item.
The contract is in draft form. It's based on prior year, last year's. But there were some changes that were requested by the NFTA. Those are on my desk, and I'm going through them, and I'm going to respond to the requested changes by the NFTA. So there's going to be a bit more negotiation to be done, so I don't have a contract, but I can assure you that the draft that I'm working on recites the same number that's included in item number 1, the mayor's memo, in terms of the services, the cost of the services, it being $641,062, and also that the funding is coming out of the tourism fund balance, and it's being paid for by the bed tax. And one of the unique things about this arrangement is the state legislature actually mandated when the city of Niagara Falls applied to have a bed tax in the city, the state said, well, we'll allow you to do that with some catches. And one of the catches is written into the statute by the state legislature that there's a certain percentage of all bed tax money that is going to be earmarked for the NFTA to provide this trolley service. And so it's not as though the money earmarked for the NFTA is ours to keep. If we didn't deliver it to the NFTA, we would be in trouble. The worst that could happen is we might have to return the money to the state and have no trolley. So none of those are good outcomes. What I'm trying to say is that the item is fully funded, and it matches the dollar amount, as I said, matches the contract draft that's on my desk, and it will not change. I'm not going to request that it be changed. I'm going to use the same number that's on the mayor's item. I hope that answered your question.
Opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Collin.
In light of that development, I make a motion to postpone this item until contract is completed.
Is there a second with the motion to postpone the item? The motion on the floor is failed to postpone. Back to the question. The motion to postpone failed. There is no second. Back to the question for calling the roll.
Councilmember Collin.
No.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac.
Yes.
Chairperson Archie.
Yes.
4 yeas.
4 yeas, the motion is adopted. We have a motion for item number 2.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the council vote to approve and authorize the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement with 5 Star Equipment, Inc. for the new 2026 John Deere 410 P-Tier backhoe loader, and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the said vendor as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
And again, I won't restate the motion unless the member requests. Any information requests? Opposition? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Collin.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac.
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas.
5 yeas, the motion is adopted. Do I have a motion for item number 3?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the council vote to approve and authorize the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement with Albina T LLC for 2 new 2026 Toyota 4Runners and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the said vendor as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
And again, I won't restate the motion unless a member requests information. Opposition? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Collins?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie?
Yes.
5 yeas.
5 yeas, the motion is adopted. Do I have a motion for item number 4?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve and authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Patch Management, Inc. and to utilize city workers assigned to the DPW Streets Division to supplement the pothole killer efforts as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Again, I won't restate the motion unless asked. Information? Opposition? Call the roll.
Councilmember Collins?
Everyone has seen the pothole killer. Everyone knows we have potholes. We're full aware, definitely craters. Absolutely, we'll just keep it at that. But hopefully we work as a council to really make sure our budget is appropriate to fix the roads instead of just doing patches. And if we're gonna do patches, we make sure we fix them the right way that's gonna last longer than 6 months, 12 months, so we're not doing the same patches over and over again. So this agenda item is needed. Trust me, it's an emergency. We're at DEFCON 1. It's the reverse for DEFCON. It's actually reversed, by the way. The lower the number is like -5. But this is needed. Trust me, I wouldn't vote yes for this if it wasn't needed. But I want you all to keep us accountable as we move forward into budget season, that we get the right equipment for our police, especially our DPW, so that we can take care of our own city and not someone else doing it for us. Yes. What's your vote? Yes.
Yes.
What was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
To elaborate further on Councilmember Cawley's remarks, obviously the budgetary things are important when it comes to the potholes and the street pavings, everything like that. But as we discussed in our work session beforehand, it's also incumbent on the council to bring other options that may be viable for the city.
Right.
And I think it's good for the public to know that while we may find the options and we may bring the information, the actual negotiation rests with the administration. So while we may bring something, we really can't do much other than, they could come have a presentation with us, which I hope as we find other vendors and other options, maybe we're able to get them to do that. But when it comes to actually finding something different than the pothole killer, or maybe a combination of the pothole killer and another vendor, that relies with the administration. So we're optimistic that we'll have some more information coming to us in the near future about possible other vendors or collaboration of the pothole killer in this. So in that instance, my vote is yes.
thank you. Chairman Archie?
Point of order.
Well, come to these potholes year after year after year, these potholes, same thing, over and over and
Do me a favor, do me a favor,
Point of order.
do me a favor.
Warner.
Next time, I want you to sign up to speak.
Oh, I'll sign. but
Hold
you
on,
know,
Cap, hold up. Hold up. Just so we can kind of try to, okay? Okay? Yes.
Guys, issue your warning.
That's 5 yeas, motion passed. Adopted, thank you.
Thank you. Motion for item 5.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the council vote to approve and waiver the city parking fees at the surface lot of 238 3rd Street on March 14th, 2026 for the benefit of Black Achievers, Inc., as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Again, I won't restate the motion unless a member requests. Information? Opposition? Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Colley.
Congrats to the recipients, yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas.
5 yeas and the yeas have it. We have a motion for item number 6.
Mr. Chairperson, I move to vote to approve the waiver of city parking fees at the surface lot on 238 3rd Street on April 24th, 2026, for the benefit of Community Missions of Niagara Frontier, Inc., as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Again, we won't restate the motion unless a member requests. Any information? Opposition? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Colley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas.
Yeas, the yeas, motion is adopted. We have a motion for item 7.
Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve settlement of the monetary claim of KGN Properties LLC arising out of a clean team bill that was incurred by a prior owner of 1537 Pierce Avenue, as more fully outlined in the Acting Corporation Council's recommendation memo dated March 5th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I will not restate the motion unless a member requests. Information?
Yes, Mr. DuBois, could you just explain to us just this case, or as much as you can? I know there's litigation involved, but I'm still sort of confused. We discussed it at our work session, but we don't want to, definitely want to avoid litigation costs, but can you just explain the scenario?
Well, first of all, in response to one of the public speakers earlier this evening, this item does not involve the sale of city property. 1537 Pierce Avenue was not owned by the city at the time the clean team did the work. The city didn't sell the property. It was the prior owner of 1537 Pierce Avenue that sold the property to KGN. So this isn't a case of wiping away back taxes to facilitate the sale of city property. That's not the case. What I can explain is that when property gets sold, it does create the opportunity for mistakes to be made by our city departments, not just DPW, but others. And I'll give you an example of this. Several years ago, there was a house that was in bad shape, and the Department of Codes condemned it. Well, when they condemned it, they have to send a letter to the owner, and they have to put a placard on the house saying condemned. Well, when they went to our city system for tracking property, same system that the assessor uses, it showed a particular owner. What nobody knew at the city side is that the property had been sold and a deed had been filed maybe 2-3 days before the house was condemned. So the dilemma was we worked off the best information we had. Codes sent the letter to the owner that they knew about. And so the new owner, they close on their property and they arrive and they find a condemned sign and they're saying, what the heck is this? Why didn't the seller tell us about this? Why are we finding out about this now after we purchased the property? So you can see where the stumble can occur when there's a property sale involved. And the resolution there, by the way, was the new owners called the city and complained, why is our house condemned? What's wrong with it? And we're at least able to get out new notices from codes to the new owners, which set forth all the reasons for the condemnation. And it worked out because they hired a contractor, they had a punch list of things they needed to repair, it was all done, all taken care of. Now, the same scenario played out here with 1537 Pierce. The cleanup work was done at 1537 Pierce. when the owner of the property was the former owner, not KGN. By the time that the bill went out, it got mailed to KGN. I'm sorry, it got mailed to the prior owner. KGN knew nothing about the work and didn't receive any notice from DPW. So when they discover in January that their tax bill, their city tax bill, included a charge for $3,400 and change for a cleanup, they knew nothing about it. And so what do? They called and they said, what's going on here, right? And so when my office investigated it, we concluded that it was one of these fumbles, that KGN never received notice, and in fact didn't own the property at the time the work was done. So under those circumstances, the only just outcome is to take that charge off of KGN's tax bill. And that's what my memo is recommending to the council, that you authorize the city controller to wipe out that charge on this owner's tax bill, and also any late penalties that they may have incurred by not paying the first installment. And I think that will make the current owner whole and right the wrong, which was accidental. It's going to happen. These scenarios I know of two now. If something happens twice, it's going to happen again. It doesn't happen every day, every month. It may not even happen next year. But if it does, we're equipped to handle it. And I hope I've answered your question as to what the background of my memo is.
Address that was cleaned up. It was Pierce that was cleaned up, but it was still sent to KGN because they were the new owner that owned it.
The bill was sent to the prior owner, the owner that sold the property to KGN. That's how the notice was addressed to the prior owner. The prior owner probably received it and said, I don't care. I don't own that place, and crumple it up, put it in the garbage, right?
Right.
So, the only way to get these type of costs recouped for Clean Team is through the mechanism that the council exercised last fall, and that is unpaid Clean Team bills. You authorize the controller and the assessor to put those on the property tax bill.
Sure.
And normally that works. And in this particular case, there was a fumble because of the change of ownership.
Good to go. Opposition? So, and I know, Archie, you gave me the ordinance, and I have to read that, but before, if it didn't go to the tax bill, it was just billed to them? If that's prior to, there's a notice on the door, right? People are notified. If it's not a part of this Clean Neighborhood Initiative, they get an opportunity to come and clean it up. And sometimes there was a second warning, and typically then the city would send out DPW. They would clean it up, and the folks would get a bill. And that's the experience that I've seen since I've been here, talking to landlords, both local and afar. Typically there's a property manager or someone, if that's a possibility, to work through that. But this is a totally different situation
Sure.
than what you're referencing. The opportunity to remedy it, as stated earlier, is working on that piece of ordinance and deciding whether or not that should stay there.
But that's separate from this.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. We can't charge them for something they did.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. It wouldn't be legal. It wouldn't be right. Call a roll.
Sorry, no opposition then? Councilmember Colley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie?
Yes.
5 yeas. Motion
5
adopted.
yeas, motion is adopted. Okay, do I have a motion for item number 8?
Mr. Chairperson, I move that the council vote to approve Resolution 2026-17 relative to appointing 3 new members to the Climate Smart Community Task Force.
Is there a second?
That's second.
Not request, restate the motion unless a member requests information. Opposition? Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Colley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas. Motion adopted.
Motion is adopted. Do I have a motion for item number 9?
Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve Resolution 2026-18 relative to the appointment of Commissioners of Deeds in the City of Niagara Falls, New York.
Second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
Second. Call. Will not restate again unless a member requested any information. Opposition? Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairmember Colley. Councilmember Colley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas. Motion
Motion is
adopted.
adopted. Do I have a motion for item number 10?
Mr. Chairperson, I move the council vote to approve Resolution 2026-19 relative to promoting home gardening and designating the City of Niagara Falls a right to garden community.
I will not restate the motion unless a member requests information. Opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Colley. Yes. Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas.
Motion is adopted. And our final resolution. Want to go ahead and do this, right? Yeah, we're going to do this. To approve Resolution 26-20 relative to amending Resolution number 2026-15, appointing Nicholas Lewa to the Niagara Falls Historic Preservation Commission.
I'll second that.
Y'all set me up. Again, we will not restate the motion unless a member requests any information. Opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Colley.
Thank you for coming in. Nice to meet you. Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
Chairman Archie.
Yes.
5 yeas.
And the motion is adopted. That closes our legislative portion of the meeting. Next, we have speakers for public good of the community.
There'll be 3 speakers tonight for the good of the community. The first speaker that signed up is Lisa Mares. I might be pronouncing that wrong, sorry, Lisa. And the topic is going to be panhandler.
I want to ask for permission. I was here and I didn't know I was supposed to sign, but I really have something detrimental to this community that everyone needs to know.
Can-
Mr. Colley, can you please give me permission? Brian,
Miss-
can you give me permission?
Ms. Felicia, if we do that, we have to do it for everybody. We can stay and wait after with you, because we had another gentleman we had to ask to hold off until we were
So
done.
I'll be able to speak?
We will stay and wait with you after the meeting is over, all of us.
Okay, well, my uncle is in Roble Towers, and because they don't like me, they charge me $880. Thank you. I want my money. But I was told they have to open the door for them to come in and do an audit, to see all those cheap prints that they gave me.
Ms.
Lisa, are you here still? Okay. Thank you, I wasn't sure. Oh, yes, there you are.
I've been thinking about this one hard. I don't come this way often because I work from home and I live in LaSalle.
However, I know there's a problem down here, the same as the problem that we have in Niagara Falls, in LaSalle part, as well as down here. That problem being the panhandlers that we're starting to get all over the city. Now, if they're gonna be out there when it's -20, what do you think's gonna happen in 3 weeks when it gets warmer? They're gonna multiply, multiply, multiply. You got people pulling out of the Target parking lot, and you got a guy sitting there, and as your car moves, he's walking along the thing. My mom just turned 80 today. She's afraid to go to the store because people are bothering her for money every day she goes to a plaza. You got people begging for money outside the Tim Hortons drive-thru. What can we do? You got a guy that sits on the bench that people pay to do advertisements on the benches. That guy pays his company, he puts your signs up, and this guy sits on the same bench every day, all day long. If he was parking in a parking lot, he'd get a ticket, but he could sit on that bench and block that view all day long. What can we do? How do we fix this problem? Because it's getting worse. We need to put a stop as soon as we can. That's what I got.
Thank you, Lisa. Our second speaker for this evening is Ms. Tanya Barone. For the good of the community is the topic.
Well, good evening. Okay, where should I begin? 2 minutes, 57 seconds. Let's see. Is anybody going to change that back to 5 minutes? I don't know. I'm trying to get that to happen, but, you know, it's all up to you guys up there. We would like the 5 minutes. So, who runs a city? Okay, because he runs the meetings. Oh, and our mayor, he's a lawyer, so he runs a city too. They get paid the big bucks. We're just the little peons here. They're the ones that make all the rules, and they know how to skirt around things legally for us poor folks out here that aren't as smart or educated. But that's what they count on. Who is going to enforce the city charter? In the residency requirements for the administration who are supposed to be living here, it's a long-standing legal mandate that ensures municipal leadership remains accountable to local residents. Where's that accountability? Do you want to know about non-for-profits? Look up GuideStar Candid. It will tell you what those non-for-profits are taking in on their tax returns. The Buffalo Niagara Waterkeepers, not saying anything that they're doing anything bad. They're probably doing a lot of good. I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I can tell you that I was looking up a bunch of non-for-profits, and I was just really amazed that the two women that are in charge make $377,204 plus bonuses a year. So out of the $2 million grant that they just received, do the math. A lot of it goes towards their salaries. A lot of non-for-profits are like that, which is very disturbing. If you want to put in a FOIL, write in all departments so that that department can't say, the information isn't here and you're chasing down a FOIL for months. So just, that's a little heads up. I learn the hard way sometimes. The dog shelter, will that be considered an emergency? When does that Grand Island shelter, their contract run out? Are they going to say they're not going to renew? And then all of a sudden, boom, here comes a vendor, emergency, just like we did before. Just kind of putting that out there before the emergency actually happens. So you're all prepared because we have a dog shelter that's, is it finished? Did anyone get a tour yet? Just, I don't know. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't see no RFP yet. Oh, fake profiles on Facebook. I hear that someone in the administration has one and it likes to harass people, including me.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Brown.
you.
The next speaker, final speaker for this evening is Ms. Janine Gallo, good of the community.
Okay. Again, the charter. I watched Miles, Dante Miles, up there for 2 years get criticized and yelled at about the charter. But yet, when it's reversed, one charter rule, there's 5 of you up there that you will never, ever, starting with the top, address the charter rule of where the people live, because you'd be, I don't know, maybe you'd get in trouble. I'm not sure. The other thing is the lecture. Again, like I've told you, I go to other council meetings, and the attorney is for the people. When are you going to make an attorney, even if they sit next to Tom, for the people? Give him his dollar and get an attorney for the people. And you guys sit there, and the new people, get the guy a nameplate. I'll pay for it. My God. As far as the dog shelter, this man here, wouldn't it be awesome to give him a 5,000 square foot building for these kids to do exercise in and use the park? Wouldn't that be awesome? Can you imagine driving through the park and seeing kids doing exercise on the grass and then doing yoga and stuff inside the building? Oh, that would be for the people, the community. The park should be used for people. Again, you want a dog shelter? Great. But put it in all the other abandoned crap around Niagara Falls. Why would you use the park? My. Okay, and the reason there's no agenda, it's very simple, because they haven't gotten it all sorted out, so that they're going to give people a week to, apply for the dog shelter, to run the dog shelter. When 6 months ago, a year ago, you could have put it out, an RFP out for somebody. Maybe a group of people would have got together, again, looking for the best of the dogs, just like, going to the town of Tonawanda for medical care for your dogs in Niagara Falls makes sense when you have hospitals here. But again, it's March, and April will come, and until they're ready and they have the backdoor deal again, just like Grand Island, okay? In Grand Island, it's going to be the same thing. But again, you all will say yes, 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 yes for 2 years, 4 years, whatever you say yes, you got voted in to say yes. It's a joke. It's a joke. Start with who works here. Start with getting somebody that doesn't lecture anybody, that comes up here and talks, that they actually just answer your questions and shut up and let us have our 3 minutes. Because enough's enough with all this crap. But use the park for a park. And it's surprising a nonprofit made more than the paycheck.
Thank you, Ms. Gallo. That was our last speaker for this evening.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting is adjourned.